So this Whirlpool dryer of mine has never worked properly. From the first time I used it, it stopped midway through, and then every time I would try to start it again, right, with the switch on, regardless of the position of it, if you push it, it'll start, but as soon as you release the push to start push button, it will turn off, right? Pretty annoying, doesn't actually work. So the way I think I figured out what the problem was, right, a little bit of dissecting, on this backside here, this is the that push to start push button, the backside of it, and what this is a it's a relay. And the main way that this works, you see on this drawing here, there's R1, R2, CT1, and A, TAC, NO. The manufacturer does provide a little bit of a schematic drawing to try to understand this. So if you're good with circuits, you can kind of figure this out. What's going on here is your main power for operating the motor will flow between R1 and R2. And the action of pushing the button will close this contact between R1 and R2, so the power will start flowing. In order for the power to keep flowing, that contact has to be kept shut. And the way that's normally supposed to be done is that as you're pushing this closed, current will not only flow to R2, but it'll flow through this coil. And this coil will end at either, CT1 or this other terminal point. When current flows to the coil, it'll maintain, electrically a force to close or keep that contact closed that the, pushing of the button was originally doing. So long as current is able to flow through that coil, then this contact will remain shut and the motor will be able to run. And my symptom is that that wasn't happening, right? You can push the contact, it'll start the motor, but it doesn't maintain it. It wasn't sustaining it. So something was probably damaged on some, with that functionality of that coil. And thinking of the options, right? What you have here is, the R1 and R2 terminals. You have the CT1, which I believe stands for common terminal. And then this A, TEC, NO. This is a secondary contact. All this is about is allowing the end of cycle signal to go on and off. And you kind of see that's, there's a switch position based on how this is twisted, right? So that's just an extra function. The real main operating requirements is that the R1, R2, and CT1 terminals connect as required. And of course that coil works. And you can kind of see on the back side, based on the labeling, you have R1 on the bottom here, where the power comes in, R2, where the power goes out, right, to the motor, that is. And then you have that A, TAC, NO thing right down there, right? And then you have this big thing here, where it was connected at this point here. This is the common terminal. You can already kind of tell something's a little bit off about it. There's a bit of a discoloration going on. And sure enough, if you look at these switches that connected to those points, your light blue is your R1 and R2, and your pink and black is the common terminal 1. And then this tan one is that end of cycle signal secondary function thing. You can see all that darkness there. That probably indicates there was some kind of a short or, definitely non-ideal circuit condition going on, and likely there was some kind of damage that occurred inside of the relay itself, right? So my theory is that there was some kind of an overloading or overcurrent condition. Maybe a short occurred inside of it and excessive current was flowing between R1 and the common terminal, which goes to the neutral line. That could cause damage to that relay and cause it to no longer function as required. Another thing that can happen with dryers, not uncommonly, is that there's actually something wrong with the thermal fuse. this is what a typical thermal fuse looks like. These are really cheap parts. You can find them for $5 on Amazon. One way to test this to see if it's working right is to unplug the two sides of it, at least one of the sides, and test for continuity. The whole point of a fuse is that it will break a contact if it gets too hot or too much current's flowing through it. Now this one is fine, which is good, because that means the problem is more likely isolated to that start relay. But that'd be something else to check. And given the conditions I was having, right, where it was actually starting when the button was pushed, but not when the button was released, indicates that the thermal fuse wasn't the problem to begin with. But a lot of times the easy problem is that thermal fuse.